দর্শকবৃন্দ, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। As I promised that আপনাদের সাথে আমি শুক্রবার, বাংলাদেশের সময় শুক্রবার রাত্র 10টার সময় আমি আপনাদের সাথে কথা বলবো এবং ওই প্রমিস অনুযায়ী আমি এখন আপনাদের সাথে কথা বলছি। আম দর্শকবৃন্দ, আমি আপনাদের কাছ থেকে ১ম একটা কথা শুনতে চাচ্ছি। আপনারা কি আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? আম যদি আপনারা একটু আমাকে বলেন কমেন্ট করে যে আপনারা আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন। আপনারা কি কেউ একজন লিখবেন যে আপনারা আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? আপনারা লাইভে কয়েক ডজন লোকজন ঢুকেছেন। আপনারা যদি দয়া করে কেউ বলেন যে আপনারা আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন। মিস্টার স্টোন, আপনি কি আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? ওয়ালাইকুম সালাম। আপনি কি আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? ওকে, গুড। সো দর্শকবৃন্দ, আমি ডোনাল্ড ট্রাম্পের নির্বাচনের পরে আমি চেষ্টা করেছি যে আমি আমেরিকান একজন রিপাবলিকান লিডার এবং একজন অ্যাটর্নি তার সাথে এসে আমি বিভিন্ন বিষয় নিয়ে কথা বলি। আমি এটা চিন্তা করেছি। সো ওয়ান অফ দ্য জেন্টলম্যান, হি ইজ এ রিপাবলিকান লিডার, অলসো অ্যান অ্যাটর্নি, আমেরিকান অ্যাটর্নি। Besides that, an attorney and ESQ means আমাদের দেশে আমরা ব্যারিস্টার এন্ড সলিসিটর বলি। এই ভদ্রলোকের কাছে আমেরিকান রিপাবলিকান ফরেন পলিসি এবং ডোনাল্ড ট্রাম্পের ফরেন পলিসি, ইমিগ্রেশন ল এবং বিভিন্ন বিষয় নিয়ে আজকের আমি কথা বলবো। কিন্তু একটা ব্যাপারে আপনাদের সবার কাছে আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করব, যেহেতু উনি আমেরিকান, যেহেতু উনি সাদা একজন মানুষ, আপনারা ওনার সাথে আমার কনভারসেশনটা ইংরেজিতে হবে। আপনারা যদি কমেন্টের ভিতরে কোনো বিষয় আপনারা বুঝতে অসুবিধা হয়, আপনারা দয়া করে আমার কাছে জানতে চাইবেন, আমি বাংলায় ট্রান্সলেশন করব। আসুন, আমি এবার সময় নষ্ট না করে আমার অতিথির সাথে আপনাদেরকে পরিচয় করিয়ে দিই। Mr. Stanley M. Wayne, an attorney, a registered Republican, a preacher. I'm welcoming to the show. This is the show that we are running since 1994. I'm welcoming you to this show, and I'd like you to say hello to my audience, and also you can introduce yourself the way you are comfortable. Please, Mr. Attorney Stanley and Wayne.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jacob Milton. Appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate you listening to me in English. I was listening to you speak in Bengali, and I don't know one word, so I really need your patience.
No problem.
All right, listening to me in English, and I appreciate that so many people do understand English. But my name is Stanley Wayne, but I was born in Australia, and Jacob Milton and I have that in common because he used to live in Australia. And my parents were not the type of people that stayed in one country. They raised us in Asia and Japan. I was raised in until after high school in Japan, and then I came back to the United States and finished university and that kind of thing. But I've traveled quite a bit. I've been back to Australia, been back to Japan, that kind of thing. But yes, I am a person that's interested in what happened 2 days ago in the United States with the election of Donald Trump. He doesn't take office for a couple more months the way it's set up here, but everyone's all excited about what's going to happen. And some people are fearful and some people are happy. And I am a Republican also. I did vote for Donald Trump all 3 times. But that's a little bit about me. I am a lawyer, and I'm also a Christian minister. And that's sort of part-time. My full-time work is as a lawyer, and I pastor a small Japanese church in New York City here. I'm actually sitting in the building where my office is. And I do a lot of legal work also. And some of my clients are Bengali, as a matter of fact, right? In fact,
Yes.
quite a lot. They're getting more and more. But that's a little bit about me, and then I'll turn it over to Jacob again, and we can direct the conversation any way he wishes.
Okay. Would you mind if I call you Stan, or you want me to call you Mr. Wayne?
Stan is great.
Stan, Stan, the funny thing, I didn't know that your middle name is Milton. I had no idea.
Yeah, it is.
So you and me, we have two things in common. Your name also, middle name is Milton, and my last name is Milton.
Yeah.
And you are in Australia, and I was in Australia.
Yeah.
Very good. Do you know what? God wanted you and me meet together and work together, and that's what we are doing.
Yeah.
The question now it is, as soon Dr. Donald Trump got elected and declared that he became the 47th president of America, there is a feelings, especially feelings from immigrant community, that he's going to deport anyone and everyone from America. He's going to deport everybody, all the immigrants. Could you please tell us that exactly Donald Trump cannot deport anyone and everyone, those who are law-abiding citizens and here legally and did not break any law. And Donald Trump alone, a president cannot deport half of the population of the country, 13 to 14 million people. What do you think? Would you be kind enough to explain and give them a little bit of comfort that a president is not going to deport 13, 14 million people in 4 years? And that's what he's not capable of doing that or whatever. You are a Republican. Whatever his immigration policy, I'd like you to share your feelings with my audience. Please, Stan.
All right. I'm happy to talk about that. And yes, the only issue is illegal immigration. That's the only issue. As far as legal immigration, this country, I shouldn't say we, I'm not in charge of anything, but this country allows and encourages about 1 million people every year to become legal immigrants. Now, that's not easy to get into anymore because so many of the categories tie up, like, for example, family reunion, marriages, and things like that, tie up a lot of that. So there's more people wanting to come to the United States than can easily come in legally, definitely. And there's also long waiting periods for legal immigration. We do some immigration law. I do some. It's not my specialty, but I do some because it interacts with some of the other aspects. But the only thing Trump is, concerned about is illegal immigration. Now, even amongst the illegal immigration, there's been a certain amount of tolerance for that, all through the years. It's sort of like tolerated a little bit. But it's gotten to the point where there's so many illegal immigrants pouring over the border that there was no checks at all. And many countries were sending criminals and whatnot gladly. This happened a long time ago, back in the Reagan years, too. For example, Cuba just emptied their prisons and said, all right, you guys want to go to Florida? Go ahead, and that was called a Mariel incident, where many criminals came to the United States that way. So that's what's happening right now. And so I think that's the main issue. And you will see, as soon as Donald Trump becomes the actual president in January, that he will try to get criminals arrested. And that'll be the first wave. He will try to get the criminals out. And but that's not easy because the home country, like Venezuela, a lot of times it's Venezuela or someplace like that, the home country might not want them back. And that'll be a big issue. You'll read about it. What's Trump going to do with criminals that are now in jail, but he can't send them to Venezuela where they came from because they won't be accepted. So what's he going to do? That's going to be an interesting problem, But he's not trying to deport even all of the illegal immigrants. I don't believe he will, but he'll go through different categories like that. First, the illegal immigrants, and first the ones, and then the next level might be the ones that came during this period when the borders were just wide open. People could walk in during the last 4 years. He might go over after them, and it'll be gradually. I don't think he'll ever reach the stage where people that have been here illegally 10 years will be deported. I doubt it, unless they commit some kind of serious crime. That's what I see is going to happen.
Even though, for example, if someone committed a petty crimes or he got arrested, there is an immigration law. There is a lots of loophole. Someone got convicted in a crimes in moral turpitude. I don't think in a legal procedure, any president or any system, they will have hard time to deport that individual, even someone got involved in a petty crimes. If the charges got dismissed, if that immigrants become clean and law-abiding citizen, he's living in this country for more than 10 years, I don't think Donald Trump or any president is come and look for him to deport, right? Or
Correct.
am
So
I wrong?
correct. Yeah, the ones that are vulnerable are people that use guns. If there's weapons, or if there's any kind of felony, a strong, even felonies in this country, we have, especially in New York, we have 3 levels of crimes. Okay, there's felonies. I'm not sure how it is in Bangladesh. Felonies, and then the next level is misdemeanors, and the next level is called violations. All right.
Violations.
A violation would be something like urinating on the street or something, being a public nuisance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're not going to be deported for that. And a misdemeanor would be something like harassing your ex-wife on the telephone or something. You know, you get angry at your ex-wife and call her up and harass her, and you end up even going to the police station. That's not going to be a deportable offense. Even felonies include anything that the maximum sentence is over 1 year. Even felonies, the only thing that causes a person to be deportable are things that involve
violent crime,
weapons,
violent crime, violent crimes, and drug trafficking.
Or drug trafficking. Yes, not just using drugs. It's not a matter of using some cocaine or marijuana. That won't deport a person. But if they're trafficking in it over a certain amount, that would cause them to be deported.
One thing I'm saying that lots of people nowadays, you are doing some divorce cases from my community. And you mentioned one interesting subject. Sometimes wives are harassing their husbands. Sometimes husbands are harassing their wife. And they are fighting for no apparent reason. They could have resolved the issue, but at one point, they ended up at the court. Sometimes in a criminal court, sometimes in a civil court. Would you offer some suggestion to those people that it's not even worth arguing back and forth between husband and wife or boyfriend or girlfriend that ended up in a criminal court, send wife or husband to the prison, or ended up at the court and fighting a legal battle? They have to hire an attorney and spend money. Would you offer them some sorts of counseling? The question I'm asking only reason that you are also a preacher. Just tell them what exactly they do if there is any disagreement. Instead of harassing or fighting or physical assault, what else they should do?
Yeah. Are you talking about a situation where they've already been arrested?
Yes.
Yeah, I do think they need a lawyer. I know, lawyers say that lawyers are needed, but it's difficult to fight on your own because it's procedural problems. It's the procedure. And so if going back to what we were saying, though, this is not about deportation. It's not going to cause deportation because you're fighting with your ex-wife or wife, present wife, or separated spouse, over the telephone or writing letters, or even in their face-to-face situation. And if you start hitting her, that's going to be a bit felony. That's going to be a problem. But that other level is called a misdemeanor. But yeah, you do need a lawyer to fight a battle like that. It's just, otherwise.
Would you suggest them that it's not even worth fighting among them, husband and wife? Just get an attorney or sit down and talk by yourself, husband and wife. Do not fight, do not argue, do not harass, don't get yourself involved in any sorts of violence activities.
Yeah.
Don't yell at somebody. Do not treat your wife or do not treat your husband like a slave. Just calm down. If someone don't like to stay with you, just step back and just think about it. Why you guys are fighting? Think about it. When they are hiring you, they have to pay you money. They have to go to the prison. Either they have to go to the Supreme Court to settle their problem. Anyway, let's jump back to our other issues.
Yeah.
What do you think that Donald Trump become the president? And what would be his foreign policy, especially towards Southeast Asia, a country like Bangladesh? I'll give you one example. There was a lady who was in power for the last 15, 16 years. She is one of the worst human beings who can become the head of the state.
I don't know.
She did not get elected. Listen, she did
I believe you. All right.
Yeah. She did not get elected. And guess what? Did you ever hear from anywhere of the world that a person is getting elected by 3% of the vote? Donald Trump got how many percent? 57 or 58% vote Donald Trump got.
So are you asking me what Donald Trump would do about that? Yeah, I mean,
No. I'm saying how many percent of the vote Donald Trump got? 57% or 60, over 60%?
50% of what?
Oh, in America, last presidential election.
Yeah, how
What
many
is the
people are
percent?
for him? Is that what we're asking?
What is the percentage of the vote Donald Trump got? 50% vote or 57%?
Yeah, how many percentage of the vote he got? All right, yeah.
Yes.
Somehow the word vote isn't coming through the system very
Okay.
clearly, but it's okay. Yeah, he got over 50% in popular vote. But as you know, our system is a collection. The United States means not United Citizens; it's United States, and it's very hard for people overseas to understand that, especially where I was raised in Japan and even in Australia. They have a much stronger central government, right? And this country is a union of 50 separate states. Each one has their own sovereignty. Each state is sovereign. So therefore, each state gets to choose, who they would like to be president of the whole. You understand? So therefore, we have a system called the Electoral College, and they don't always match. This particular time, it matched. The popular vote, like counting up every single American citizen that voted for Donald Trump, it came in like 52% or something like that. All right. So that's one thing, but that's not what elects the president. What elects the president is the majority of the states and their delegates in what's called the Electoral College. They elect the president, you see? So if you live in New York, you're voting for Donald Trump's electors, and there's a certain number of them. And if you live in the neighborhood, the next neighbor, New Jersey, you're voting for the Donald Trump's electors. And those electors go to a certain place and meet on a certain day in January, and they cast their. They can even go against what the people said, but generally that doesn't happen. So the last few times Donald Trump didn't get the time that he was elected in 2016, he did not get the majority of the popular vote. And that happens quite often in our history because it's a collection of states, not a collection of human beings. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yep.
But I do look forward to being able to speak to you about what I think that's not in the newspapers and not in the news about the effect of Donald Trump or what's going to happen.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm giving you time.
Right. I realize I'm speaking to people, a majority of you are Muslims, and I find that Christians and Muslims have some common interests. And one of them is a high sense of morality. We might not agree on what is moral and what is not moral, but we do agree on a lot of it. And like right now, until now, we've had this concept in this country of being woke. I don't know if you've ever heard that word, WOKE, woke. And wokeness is something that Donald Trump is definitely against, and the other party will do things like encourage transsexuals, encourage people to just decide, I was born a man, but I'm not a man anymore. I'm a woman, and even down to this level of children. This is part of what is called wokeness, of a kind of an ideology that was taking over this country for a while. And so you had even children as young as 10 years old saying, "Oh, mommy, I thought I was a girl, but I really feel like a boy," or "I thought I was a boy, but I really feel like a girl." Instead of treating that as some kind of a disorder in your mind you'll grow out of it. We used to call those people tomboys when a girl was always wanting to hang around with boys. But now, under this new ideology, maybe you need medicine. Maybe you need, to have an operation on your breasts or something like that. It's just a ridiculous concept that even affected even to the military. You know, they were putting generals in there that were men in dresses and things like that, and it was demoralizing our military. And so I think this is something that is not spoken of in the newspapers because it's embarrassing for some reason to write about it or to talk about it. But that's going to be one of the biggest changes in our country, is a sense of morality and not wokeness anymore. And now what they do say on the TV now is common sense. It's like Trump is more common sense about things like that. And the pronouns, for example, you weren't allowed to use certain pronouns for people. If a person thought he was a woman, you weren't allowed to call him he, even though he looked like a woman, you know, that kind of thing. And how it affects the world and Bangladesh is what I mean by this is, you know, the present administration that's going out, they would force their embassies, whether it was in Dhaka or wherever. Is that where our embassy is, in Dhaka?
Yes.
They would force them to put a homosexual flag up or a transgender flag, you know what I mean? Or they would force ambassadors to be transsexual just to rub it into the face of the country that they were sending an ambassador to, you know? Whereas Trump will not do things like that. And he will not, you know, it's just a completely different way of looking at life. And wokeness involves more things than what I've just said, you know, but you know, it includes things like, you know, I know what, not using gasoline and things.
Understand? Are you saying that this is a moral issues
Yeah.
in Islam, in Christianity, in Judaism, especially monotheist religion? I don't think they allow same-sex marriage or same-sex relationship. They disapprove. When people born as a straight individual, whether they're man or woman, suddenly they comes up and says, "Hey, I was a man for 30 years and suddenly I become gay." This is ridiculous. And political arena, I don't know why any political party has to go into their bedroom and decide who is same sex, who is not. As a matter of fact, if we call ourselves that I'm a Muslim, I should not support same sex by any means. We cannot. And if you are a practicing Christian, how you become gay or lesbian?
Yeah.
You can pray to Jesus Christ and say, I'm gay or lesbian. Now, question is, do you think Republican Party or Donald Trump? I know they are anti-abortion. I know they are anti-same-sex marriage. Another one, do you really think Donald Trump would be capable of putting a stop the way all the state approved same-sex marriage?
No, I don't think he'll do away with it. He won't do away with same-sex marriage. It's gone too far. But I mean, and there's other principles. He's also sort of a libertarian. You know, do you understand what a libertarian is? Yes. It's sort of like, yeah, you leave me alone and I'll leave you alone is the philosophy of libertarian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the wokeness and the transgender ideology, the homosexual agenda, went beyond let me do what I want in the privacy of my. It went to let's teach children about homosexuality and how wonderful it is, what a choice it is in the schools. You see, and that's what Donald Trump is against. You know, he won't oppose people doing homosexuality in the privacy in their homes anymore. That used to be in the United States, but that won't happen.
But can I ask? Would you consider it as act of hypocrisy or act of self-denial, or it's just convenience that some people become gay or lesbian? Because in I think it's 1876 or 1976, one of the Austrian physicists, he comes up with the stupid idea that gay and lesbians, they born that way. Later on, some people challenged it and they says that's a false research work. Do you think when people are saying how nice gayness or how nice that lesbianism, would you consider it as a hypocrisy, or they just become the, in a way, they misguide themselves and they invite other people to follow them? How would you describe them in the society? These people are, what do you call it? In favor of the society that take the society in the right direction, or they are taking people to the wrong direction? What's your opinion as a
Yeah, I
Christian
agree.
believer?
I mean, that's the change that is happening. The Trump is against wokeness, which is the pushing of it, pushing of this strange ideology on children and in the military and different places. He won't go so far as to try to punish people that are that way. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that the idea of sending an embassy to Dhaka, Bangladesh, and putting a big transgender flag on every wall, or when it's time for some kind of a they have a gay pride month in this country, a whole month for gay pride. Somebody said that was a good idea, and they would paint buildings pink or send lights on white buildings to make them look pink or something like that. Well, ever since Obama and Clinton and Biden, they would do that kind of thing in embassies and even in Muslim countries, and even
No, I did on that one. I'm just informing you. None of the Muslim countries allowed it.
Yeah. Well, they would try though. They would try.
They will, and if they do, they will fail. They will be failing miserably in Bangladesh, a country like Pakistan, a country like Indonesia, a country like Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. They will never try, because if they try, they're gonna fail.
Yeah.
But do you know what they are going to be successful? A country like India.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, a country like India, they will accept it. Question: do you know that biggest Muslim organization in America, biggest Muslim organization called what is the name?
What are you looking for? A
Muna.
state?
It's a no. One of the abbreviation called Muna. Biggest Islamic organization, Muslim organization in America.
Oh,
Do
I
you
see.
know whom? Do you know whom they endorsed at the presidential election? They did not support Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Well, it was amazing because the big Muslim populations in America, by the way, 1.3% of the people in America are Muslims, and that's 4.5 million people. A lot of them are in Michigan, right? And for a long time, people thought, oh, they're going to be, left wing, and they're going to be for Biden and whatnot. But it was surprising.
No,
Dearborn, Michigan, was voted for Trump, this time. And I think this morality issue is one of them. It's like, I haven't even told you everything that's crazy in this country until Trump was elected again. But like, for example, they want to encourage boys to be in girls' bathrooms, boys to be in women's sports. You know what I'm saying? And all a boy has to do is, he can't compete with boys. The other boys are faster than him, running or whatever. Suddenly says, oh, actually, I'm a girl, so I have to be in the girls section. I have to be in the girls race. This kind of thing, Trump is completely against. That's called wokeness. And we had this plague in our country where, for some reason, in the name of being fair to people, in the name of being fair to the poor person that thinks he's a girl, everyone else has to suffer, And I think affecting the military was very bad, where the military was affected this way. You must have a certain number of women generals and that kind of thing.
And I have lots of people and pundits. They are giving their opinion why Biden administration and Kamala Harris they failed miserably and Donald Trump won. One of the things they are saying, I don't know whether you and me we are going to agree with that one or not. They are saying that this time Muslim vote matters. There was a 90% of the Muslim voted for Donald Trump.
Yes, they did. Yeah, in Michigan. I don't know about New York.
Even in New York.
Yeah.
Even in New York, 90% of the Muslims voted for Donald Trump for a couple of reasons. Kamala Harris did not have her own foreign policy. When the state of Israel was killing Palestinian people mercilessly with the help of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris couldn't come out and says, you know what? I'm not going to be President Biden. I'll be Kamala Harris. I'll have my own foreign policy. I will stop the war. She did not do it. But Donald Trump did. Donald Trump says he's going to stop war everywhere. He says, I don't want anyone kill each other. He
Yeah.
says, of course, I support the security of the state of Israel, but I'm not going to allow Israel to go into Gaza or West Bank and killing Palestinian people mercilessly. Under my watch, that's not going to happen. That is the reason. 90% of the Muslims went to the polling booth and voted for Donald Trump. They
Yeah.
did not vote for Kamala Harris. That
Yeah.
was surprising. The Muslim American, they voted for Donald Trump and they did not support it. Then this is the first time in American history Muslim people went against Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure. Not only do you know Dearborn, Michigan, the place we're talking about? My friend is the police chief over there, and
Mhm.
my friend is the mayor over there.
Mhm. Yeah.
The place.
So
And
sorry to
go
interrupt.
ahead.
Yeah.
No. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I see Donald Trump regarding wars, like Ukraine and Israel and Gaza. He's very pragmatic. Like, he doesn't want to get into the issues that they're talking about. Like, he doesn't care about what Putin thinks about greater Russia or the Soviet Union, losing the Soviet Union. He doesn't care about any of that. Or he doesn't want to get into the details. Well, in his mind, this is what I see watching him for many years. He doesn't want to get into the philosophical details of Zionism and Gaza, and all he wants is peace. He wants business to be able to function. He wants ships to be able to sail. You know what I mean? If people interrupt shipping or something like that, that bothers him. And he's very pragmatic. He wants a peaceful world. And you can see that.
Stan, do you really believe that Donald Trump would be capable of stopping the war in Ukraine?
I believe this much. I don't think it would have started. If he was the president, it wouldn't have started. But now
it stopped. Whatever.
Yeah,
but
now it's gone deep, and they've lost many millions. People. So many soldiers died. So many Russian soldiers. So many Ukrainian soldiers. But I do notice already in the news is that Putin wants to talk to Trump while he's still not president. He's not president for 2 more months. He's still waiting.
And he's going to be the president on January 20th.
Yeah, he's not the president until then. But Trump's he's a big talker sometimes, but he says, I'll stop all these wars even before I become president if I get elected, But we'll see. But I think he will. He's the type of person that'll talk to Putin frankly and say, you got to stop this or I'll kill you economically, And I don't think he's going to be as tolerant with Ukraine. He's not going to be giving them unlimited amount of money forever. He's not going to do that.
Everybody is saying that it's not Donald Trump who can manipulate Vladimir Putin. It is Vladimir Putin who is manipulating everywhere in the world. Do you agree with that opinion?
If Donald Trump can manipulate Putin?
Yep.
Yeah, no. I think he can.
Everybody says Donald Trump, he cannot manipulate only one person in the world. That is Vladimir Putin. No one is going to manipulate.
I don't know. I don't know if the right word is manipulate, but I think he can talk to him. And I wish they would get together and talk, and I wish he would then do the same and go over and talk to Zelensky and talk to him. Get real, guy. And I think we have a hope for a much more peaceful world with Trump. He doesn't like wars.
Okay. There is a lady in Bangladesh, as I mentioned, the former prime minister of Bangladesh, who killed thousands of people, and finally she was being chased out from Bangladesh. Now she's living in India. America denied her access. And European country says no to her. He cannot travel to any of the European country or America. As soon Donald Trump became the president, he and her party is under the impression that Donald Trump is going to bring her back from India to Bangladesh. When was the last time you heard that Donald Trump took the side of the loser? When was the last time you heard that Donald Trump would do such a thing?
No, I just, you have to understand the man is very pragmatic. He doesn't want to get involved in his personal opinion. He doesn't want to have an opinion about that. He just wants peace. So something like that would be very disruptive, right? It would be disruptive, create chaos. So he's not about to create chaos. I'm not saying he won't be friendly to India, and he at the same time he would want to be friendly with Bangladesh.
No, on the other hand, America, especially under Donald Trump leadership, I don't think Donald Trump's first priority is protect the interest of America. He's not going to
Yes.
be careless about American interest and protect the interest of India. He will never do that. But my question is, the people in Bangladesh, especially those who are the member of Awami League and former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, they are under the impression that Donald Trump is friendly to India. Therefore, Donald Trump is going to bring the deposed leader from India and bring her back to the
I
power
really
in
doubt
India.
that. Absolutely. He would have no interest in that. He wants stability. Yeah.
And on the other hand, I was following Donald Trump since 1988 as of today. In my life in America, I have never seen that Donald Trump take the side of the loser.
Yeah.
Donald Trump never take the side of the loser who killed her own people and ran away from the country. I don't think that is one type of the people Donald Trump would ever hang out with. What is your opinion? Donald
Yeah,
Trump
I
will
agree.
change the foreign policy?
Yeah, he's very pragmatic. He's very pragmatic. If it's good for stability, that's what he's going to go with normally. But he does have strong opinions of his own about America, but he's not going to enforce his strong opinions overseas. You know what I'm saying? He has strong opinions about how things should be in America. For example, all this stuff about green energy and whatnot, and not using the oil and gas. By the way, I mean, America's going to become strong, much stronger. Militarily, economically, it's going to become stronger. What's weakening the United States now is not using our own oil. Not using our own oil and having to buy foreign oil because of electric cars and so on. The woke ideology is to not use oil, not use coal, only use electricity that comes from windmills and those solar panels and things.
You are a Christian minister. Do you think Donald Trump is religious individual or he has a religious value? I'm just asking.
That's an interesting question. I don't know how much you know about Christianity and the different types. Just like Islam has many types of Islam, right? Not just Sunni Shia. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking levels of.
There is only two sects of Muslim. Others, there is only one sect called Ahmadiyya. Shia Sunni never accepted them. Listen, there is a cult in every religion.
Yeah.
But if you are talking about sect in a Muslim religion, there is only two sects. One is Sunni, another is Shia. There is no other sect.
Right. What I mean is there's different levels of devotion, and
you can say denomination in a Christian religion.
No, I didn't say
Baptist.
denomination. No, I meant some places are Christian in name only. Many Christians are Christians in name only. They're not really Christians. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, for example, there are very secular countries ever since the French Revolution in 1789. France has been very secular, but it looks to people that are on the outside that they're Catholics, or Christians, but basically they're atheists. You know what I'm saying? The average person in France. Okay, so in the United States, there's different levels of devotion to Christianity. So there are liberal Christians that are into that stuff about wokeness. You know what I'm saying? So you will see in liberal denominations that they will have lesbian priests and this kind of crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But then there's another type of Christian that is conservative, very conservative, and different words are used, like evangelical. Have you ever heard that word, evangelical?
Yeah, all right. Of course I did.
Yeah. So evangelical Christians tend to be conservative, and they take the Christian writings literally, and they that kind of thing. But Then there's another word called born again. Have you ever heard that word? Born
Yes, I
again.
did. Yes.
Evangelicals use that word. Okay, so evangelicals believe that a person can be born again spiritually. All right. Now, the question is Donald Trump a born again or evangelical Christian? Well, it's hard for me to judge his heart. It's hard, but he doesn't talk like one. He talks like a cultural Christian. You see what I mean? Like he's in favor of Christianity on a cultural level.
If I say that most of the people that I know around Donald Trump, I think he's socially religious. He's not extremist. He's not fanatics. He is not one of the guy that, okay, do you know what? I live by the gospel of Bible. I don't think he lived by the word, but as a matter of fact, he is a visionary. He's a pragmatic leader. He don't go into in a conflict where there is no end. He don't like to chase people,
Yeah.
those who become just cynical. He don't want to follow those people. Anyway, it's a good quality. He would like to see that business people who do business and make money, and on the other hand, professional, they should act in an ethical manner to prosper the world. That's what he's thinking. Um, there's a couple of questions in Bangla people are saying. They are asking you that since Donald Trump is friendly with India or friendly with the Prime Minister of India, do you think he's going to have a negative feelings towards the current government in Bangladesh?
No, I don't think so. One thing I can say, you know how India and China and Russia and various countries have trade association. It's commonly called BRIC, BRIC. You know what I mean, right? And
Yes.
Bangladesh, I understand, is trying to join that or some part,
During the rule of Hasina, it is India who was controlling entire Bangladesh. Hasina
Mm,
was not the prime minister of Bangladesh. As a matter of fact, she was the puppet. He was the puppet of India, sitting down, just grab the power.
yeah, I see.
Due to her position, Bangladesh couldn't join BRIC because India is the one who stopped it.
Yeah,
So now there is a possibility one of the Nobel laureates,
yeah,
Dr. Muhammad Yunus,
yeah,
who is the founder of macroeconomy, who
right.
is the head of the government at this time. And you raised a very good question. I think Dr. Yunus, under his leadership, Bangladesh is going to join BRICS. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen to BRIC, but one aspect of the BRIC thinking, one aspect is just trade between each other and having free trade between those countries and whatnot. But another aspect is a hidden desire to push down the dollar as the global reserve currency. Right now, and I don't know what to think about this, but I'm just telling you what I see. But right now, the US dollar is the global reserve currency, and places like China don't like it, especially China. So to me, I see BRIC as the center of BRIC is China and then India, But if the desire is to get rid of the dollar as a global reserve currency, Trump will be against that. Trump will try to prop up the dollar. And by the way, the dollar will get stronger. It'll get stronger and stronger now because America is going to be more prosperous because of oil. The base of the prosperity and the lack of prosperity right now is the high cost of oil because we're buying it elsewhere when we have it in the ground underneath us, And so America will become stronger. The dollar will become stronger. Militarily, it'll become stronger. And I know for the sake of the world stability, Trump would be in favor of keeping the dollar as a reserve currency. I know it sounds nationalistic and it sounds egotistical and all these things, but it's like a choice between, would you rather the Chinese yuan was the reserve currency or the American dollar was the reserve currency? It's a choice between that. Or the Hindi rupee, which is better, and it's just a difficult question, but that's what we have in the world today. We have a dollar as a reserve currency. He will keep it that way.
Listen, Bangladesh is always following American currency, and Bangladesh is always in favor of American currency to have a reserve When it comes to Bangladeshi reserve, we are talking about dollar. We are not talking about yuan, rupee, or anything else.
Yeah.
Our foreign reserve is in America. Americans are the one holding. Bangladesh government has account with the U.S. Treasury, so we are in favor of American Treasury or American
And
dollar.
another thing, can I interrupt? Is I was reading as I was preparing for this. I admit I don't know, aside from Jacob Milton and his people, the people that come to me through him, I don't know that many Bangladeshi people, But I did read that at this moment, Bangladesh is strongest or the biggest trading partner is the United States. That's what I read. But and that would not be threatened by Donald Trump, because you know what kind of country would be threatened by that is, for example, in our neighbor to the south is Mexico, where they have cheap labor, right? Many countries have cheap labor. Probably Bangladesh has cheap labor compared to the United States. But when they start building Ford automobiles, Chevrolet, or General Motors automobiles, and even Japanese automobiles in Mexico, and then shipping them into the United States, he hates that. He will stop that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Bangladesh is trying to do that, by build American cars and ship them back to America. So the raw materials or whatever finished products that are made in Bangladesh, I think that is safe. I don't think there'll be a conflict between Trump and Bangladesh, but there will be with Mexico. There will be with other countries that are trying to bring in cheap American stuff into America. You understand?
We are almost in our time. Then I have a question. Would you ever consider travel to Bangladesh and meet some Bangladeshi people there?
I love it. My wife is sitting over there and she's going, yeah, we would love to come there.
Listen, I'll love to meet your wife, and I'll love to send you and your wife to Bangladesh and meet some great Bangladeshi people, because Bangladeshi people are truly kind, and they become really happy to entertain people from other part of the world. And I think you will be happy that you will see the true face of the Bangladeshi family value and Islamic culture. Bangladeshi people, we are not fanatic Muslims. Bangladeshi people are just religious people. They are kind people. Their hospitality is unparalleled if you ever go to Bangladesh. And
I'd love to
definitely,
come.
do you remember that I asked you that you have to call American Embassy in regards to one of the visa of
Yeah. I have never done that yet. And we need to do that.
I'm going to give you all the information, and we're going to do that very soon. And I'd like your wife to get involved with our television program and law work.
Yeah, she's prettier than I am. She's sitting over there. She won't come on.
No. Your conversation was fantastic. Let's do it one more time. Let's do it every week. You and me, we're going to have this chit chat. I enjoyed our conversation. And
all right, I'm happy to do it. Okay.
We're going to do it. And I'm giving you 5 seconds, 10 seconds time. If you are going to summarize our today's conversation, my audience, they're going to be watching you, that whatever advice you're going to offer them, being a lawyer, being a Republican, being the supporter of Donald Trump, whatever you say.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be afraid of Donald Trump. He's not the savior of the world. I don't want you to think he's everything, but he is a temporary stop. I don't know what'll happen after him. He chose a young man to be his vice president that would likely continue his policies. This guy Vance, he seems very good. So it might continue. If he's successful for 4 years, it might continue on. But I don't think the Bangladeshis have anything to fear. In Bangladesh, they don't have him to fear. In this country, Bangladesh immigrants have nothing to fear. It's a completely different. The immigration problem is all about illegal immigrants committing crimes. And that's not what Bangladeshis do, So I think we're going to have a happy relationship with Bangladesh.
And would you promise that we are going to do the talk show? You're going to talk with us on the television program every week, at least once a week?
All right.
Okay, we'll try to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank
Stan, you. Let's have another conversation, and you and me, we're going to have a conversation. I'll give you a call after this show. Thank you very much.
God bless. Okay.
You do the same. ডক্টর বৃন্দ, এই ছিল আমাদের শো। এখন কয়েকটা বিষয় আপনারা আমার কাছ থেকে জানতে চেয়েছেন যে আমি স্ট্যানলিকে আরো কয়েকটা প্রশ্ন করি। একটা বিষয় আমি নিজে চিন্তা করি, সেটা কি?
I'm not on the screen.
এই জিনিসটা আমি অনেক সময় খেয়াল করেছি। রিপাবলিকান লিডারশিপের ভিতরে একটা কনজারভেটিজম থাকে। যে কনজারভেটিজমে আমরা অনেক সময় খেয়াল করি যে কালচারালি আমরা মুসলমানরা কিভাবে ইন্টারঅ্যাক্ট করি আমেরিকান রিপাবলিকান পার্টি অথবা আমেরিকান ডেমোক্রেটিক পার্টি। এখন আমি সবসময় একটা কথা প্রিচ করি, আমেরিকান রাজনীতি যদি বুঝতে হয়, আমেরিকান রাজনীতি বুঝতে গেলে ওদের সাথে ভালো সম্পর্ক বিল্ড আপ করতে হয়, ওদের কালচার সম্পর্কে জানতে হয়, ওদের রাজনীতি সম্পর্কে জানতে হয়, ওদের বেডরুমে ঢুকতে হয় আসলে এক্স্যাক্টলি তারা কি করে। আমি 1988 সালে আমেরিকা যখন আসি আজ অবধি একটা কাজ আমি করেছি। আমি বাংলাদেশিদের সাথে আমি যখন আলাপ আলোচনা করি, আমি এনজয় করি, কারণ উই আর ফ্রম দ্য সেম কান্ট্রি, গুড পিপল। কিন্তু আমি যখন আমেরিকায় এসে আমার ভিতরে একটা ভীষণ কাজ করেছে যে আমি যদি আমেরিকানদের সাথে কাজ করতে যাই, আমি যদি এখানে থাকি, আমি যদি এখানকার রাজনীতি সম্পর্কে বুঝতে চাই, সোসাইটি সম্পর্কে বুঝতে চাই এবং এটার মাধ্যমে আমি বাংলাদেশের কোনো কাজে লাগি, এটা আমার টার্গেট ছিল, যেটা আমার এখনো আছে এবং ভবিষ্যতেও থাকবে। যথাবৃন্দ কয়েকটা বিষয় আপনারা আমার মতামত জানতে চেয়েছেন। একজনে জানতে চেয়েছেন ডক্টর আসিফ নজরুলকে সুইজারল্যান্ডে আওয়ামী লীগের কিছু গুন্ডা পান্ডা আজে বাজে লোকজন তাকে এয়ারপোর্টে অ্যাপ্রোচ করেছে এবং তাকে অপমান করেছে। ওই একটা জিনিস আপনাদেরকে আমি বলি, বাংলাদেশে লোকই বৈঠা দিয়ে রাস্তাঘাটে মানুষ পিটিয়ে রাজনীতি কারা করে? তারা তো এই রাজনীতিগুলো করে এই জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে। জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে তারা মানুষ মারে, জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে তারা মানুষ গুম করে, জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে মানুষকে তারা ধর্ষণ করে, জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে তারা ব্যাংক লুট করে, জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে তারা যে কোনো মানুষকে রাস্তাঘাটে পিটিয়ে মারে, জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে মসজিদের ইমামের আজান বন্ধ করে দেয়, স্লোগান দিয়ে ইমামকে পিটিয়ে ওখান থেকে দূরে সরিয়ে দেয়, জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে ওয়াকফ বিলে বাধা দেয়, জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে মুসলিম লেবাস করে রাস্তায় হাঁটতে গেলে তাকে রাজাকার বলে পিটানো। এই তো জয় বাংলা স্লোগানের মূল্য তো এই। এখন কথা হচ্ছে একটা কথা আমার মনে আছে, সেটা কি জানেন? আপনাদের বেশ কিছু বছর আগে, বছর খানেক আগে, বছর দেড়েক আগে, নারায়ণগঞ্জের যে খুনি মার্ডার, সে নাকি নিউ ইয়র্কে আসছে এবং জ্যাকসন হাইটসে বিএনপির কোন কর্মীদের সাথে রাস্তাঘাটে কথা কাটাকাটি হয়েছে এবং এর রেস্ট হিসাবে তারা বাংলাদেশে নোয়াখালীতে তার বাড়ি ঘর জ্বালায় দিছে, পোড়ায় দিছে। তখন বাংলাদেশে এটা নিয়ে অনেকেই প্রতিবাদ করে নাই। কিভাবে প্রতিবাদ করবে? হাসিনা তখন ক্ষমতায়। তো হাসিনা যদি তখন ক্ষমতায় থাকে তখন এই কাজ হয়েছে। কিন্তু আজকের আপনারা চিন্তা করে দেখেন, ডক্টর আসিফ নজরুল একজন শিক্ষাবিদ, শ্রদ্ধেয় মানুষ, আইন উপদেষ্টা, উনি সুইজারল্যান্ডে গেছেন রাষ্ট্রীয় কাজে, ওনাকে এয়ারপোর্টে বসে ওনাকে বেইজ্জতি করা হয়েছে, ওনাকে অসম্মান করা হয়েছে। এখন এক্ষেত্রে আসিফ নজরুলের দুর্বলতা কি আমি দেখি? আমি ওনার দুর্বলতা শুধু এটাই দেখি, উনি ভদ্রলোক মানুষ। তবে আমি ওনার জায়গায় হলে মারামারি ধরাধরি কিছুই করতাম না। আমি রাস্তাঘাটে দাঁড়িয়ে কখনো সোশ্যালাইজও করিনি, রাস্তাঘাটে দাঁড়িয়ে কেমন আছেন, ভালো আছিও কথাবার্তা বলি, আমি হেঁটে চলে যাই। ডক্টর আসিফ নজরুলের মতো একজন মানুষ, আপনার ব্যক্তিত্বে বাধা উচিত ছিল যে কেউ একজন আসছে বিস্তর হ্যান্ডশেক করছে, কেমন আছেন, ভালো আছি, আপনি ওখানে ছিলেন কেন? আপনি বলছেন গায়ে হাত দিবেন না, হোয়াট ইজ দিস? আপনি ওখানে দাঁড়াইয়া ছিলেন, আপনি দাঁড়াইয়া তাদের সাথে আমি দেখলাম 10, 12, 15 মিনিট কতগুলো ক্লাউনের সাথে, কতগুলো অসভ্য লোকের সাথে আপনি কেন ওখানে বসে কথা বলতে গেলেন? However, আপনি বলেছেন, আপনি প্রমাণ করেছেন আপনি একজন ভদ্রলোক মানুষ। এতটা অ্যাকোমোডেট করার মতো পৃথিবীতে আসলে আমরা কিন্তু আসিফ নজরুল বাস করিনি। আপনার উচিত ছিল যখন আপনি দেখেছেন যে তারা ডিফারেন্ট ওয়েতে আপনাকে অ্যাপ্রোচ করছে, আপনার উচিত ছিল ব্যাগটা নিয়ে জাস্ট স্ট্রেইট হেঁটে চলে যাওয়া। হয়তো আপনি ভদ্রতা দেখিয়েছেন, কেমন আছেন, ভালো আছি জিজ্ঞাসা করার জন্য, কিন্তু যে লোকগুলো আপনার সাথে যে টোনে কথা বলেছে, আমি মনে করি না তারা ভদ্রতা হিসেবে করে, তারা ভদ্রতা ডিজার্ভও করে। এটা এক। 2, বাংলাদেশের বেশ কিছু সাবজেক্ট আছে যেগুলো নিয়ে আমি কথা বলবো। আজকের এই বিষয়গুলোকে আমি আলোকপাত করব না। এই সাবজেক্ট গুলো নিয়ে আমি কালকে শনিবার, আগামী কালকে রাত্র 10টায় আমি আপনাদের সাথে কথা বলবো। আগামী কালকে রাত্র 10টায় চেষ্টা করব আমি আপনাদের সাথে কথা বলতে, অথবা আপনারা আমরাই জনতা এই চ্যানেলে একটু খেয়াল রাখেন। আমি চেষ্টা করব আগামীকালকের যে কোনো একটা সময়ে আমি এসে অনেকগুলো বিষয় আছে যেগুলো নিয়ে আলোকপাত করব। আজকের অন্যান্য বিষয় নিয়ে আমি কথা বলতে গেলাম না স্রেফ একটা মাত্র কারণে। সেটা হচ্ছে আজকের আমি এখান থেকে আমি আপস্টেট নিউ ইয়র্কে যাব। ওখানে আম আমাদের বাংলাদেশের প্রশ্নে দেখা যাক। আমি কিছু কাজের জন্য যাচ্ছি। আমার জন্য দোয়া করবেন। এক ভদ্র মহিলা লিখেছেন, মুখের ভাষা ঠিক করেন। টক শোতে আপনি গালাগালি করেন। শারমিন আফরিন, আমি কোন ভদ্র একটা লোককে গালি দিয়েছি অথবা কোন ইররিলেভেন্ট একটা বিষয়ের উপরে গালি দিয়েছি, এ ধরনের কোন একটা বিষয় যদি আপনি আমাকে স্ক্রিনে এসে কথা বলতে পারেন, আপনাকে আমি আমন্ত্রণ জানাবো। আপনি একজন ফিমেল, আপনি আমার হয়তোবা বোনের মতো অথবা মা খালাদের মতো, আপনাকে আমি অসম্মান করব না। গালি দেয়া ঠিক না, মুখ খারাপ করা ঠিক না, আমি আপনার সাথে দ্বিমত পোষণ করছি না। কিন্তু আপনার আপনাকে আমি প্রশংসা এর জন্য করব, এটলিস্ট আপনি আপনার সঠিক নাম দিয়ে আপনি আমাকে একটা উপদেশ দিয়েছেন। আপনাকে আমি ইনভাইট করব স্ক্রিনে এসে আপনি যদি আমার সাথে কথা বলতে চান। আপনি যদি চান আমি আপনাকে ৫ সেকেন্ড সময় দিলাম, আপনি মন্তব্য করুন যে আপনি স্ক্রিনে আসতে চান এবং আমার সাথে আপনি কথা বলতে এই মুহূর্তে তৈরি। যদি দেন আমি আপনাকে এখন দিয়ে আপনাকে আমি লিংকটা পাঠাবো। হাউএভার দর্শকবৃন্দ, এই ছিল আমাদের শো। আমার জন্য আপনারা দোয়া করবেন, আমিও আপনাদের জন্য দোয়া করি। ইনশাআল্লাহ আগামীকালকে আপনাদের সাথে আমার আবার দেখা হবে। ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন। ইনশাআল্লাহ আপনাদের সাথে আগামীতে দেখা হবে এই আশা করে আজকে শেষ করছি। আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহি ওয়া বারাকাতুহু।